The reason you're afraid to submit to your husband is you're terrified in your new vulnerable state, he will crush you completely. The reason he tends to crush you is you compete with him for so long. You've made yourself his competition by trying to lead. And men tend to crush their competition. If you have never competed with him in the first place, meaning you submitted to him in marriage from day one, this would have never happened. He wanted to love you and then he found that you're his competition. He'll put a different stance towards you. Whether he knows it or not, he sees you as his enemy. Only because you continue to compete against him, rather than submit to him. And so now if you submit to him, he will crush you. It's only because you trained him to treat you like his competition. Your submission to your husband should start with a conversation. You give him a heartfelt apology if you never competed with him in the first place. Then you misunderstood how things work. You're the professor. You were deceived. You want him. Once you submit to him, and you never meant to attack him, tell him that you want to be his helpmeet to this. And this part will change towards you. A little posture of protecting you, providing for you, and nurturing you, which is how it all started before you started competing with him by trying to lead. If you want to know what submitting to your husband, how to go from where you are and where you've been, you know, stand down and tell him that you do want to submit to his leadership and be his helper. As the Bible rightly says, that the gender roles, and don't think there's anything wrong with them at all. In fact, it's beautiful. We watch his heart and look right before your eyes.
Whenever I showcase people like this, it is not because I'm trying to rage bait you or shine the light on this one little guy over there who has this one slightly wacky opinion. It's because he is verbalizing some of the rhetoric that I've heard in my religious communities for 50 years. I spent my whole life in Mormonism listening to lessons on submission, keeping silent, obeying my husband. In fact, at my Mormon wedding in the Portland, Oregon temple, I had to raise my hand, bow my head, and take an oath on my life to obey my husband. Super romantic. I was taught that he was the patriarch, that he was the head of the home, that I was to obey him with exactness. And here's what that looked like for me. There was a day, a few years into our marriage, when I came home and found a realtor sitting at our kitchen table at our house in Gilbert, Arizona. My husband had signed all the papers to sell our family home. He had decided that he wanted to live in a different neighborhood. By the time after my second baby, when I was struggling with postpartum depression and really struggling in a marriage that was becoming more and more violent by the day, when one night after we went to bed and he wanted to do married people things, I asked him to grab some birth control. He refused because he said that it was time for us to have baby number 3. He wanted 4 to 6. That was his minimum. I did not want another baby, but I would raise 5. In the early 90s, a lot of my other Mormon mom friends were cutting their hair in these little tight-looking bobs, and I went to my hairstylist without asking permission, had my hair cut, absolutely loved it. Came home thinking that I was the cutest thing in the world. He did not think it was cute. He abused me, screamed at me, and made it a point to tell me how hideously ugly I was and that I was never to cut my hair short again. And I did not until right before our divorce 2 decades later. And here's the thing that I can't help but wonder. We are the moms and the girlfriends and the wives and the sisters. We are raising these men. We are enabling these men to be like this. And I know I get a lot of pushback from that on women, that it's a subtle form of victim blaming that isn't cool in the feminist crowd. But I disagree. This man was raised by a woman. And I would wager a bet that she took him to the church that radicalized him. She bought him his first little Bible. She told him to be a man. The solution is simple, ladies. We are the cycle breaker. And I know that the patriarchy seems like this big, huge thing that we can never break down, but it's pretty simple. We disengage vertically from the husbands and the pastors and the Bible and Jesus and all the men at the top. And we start to connect horizontally, woman to woman, with our sisters and our daughters and our friends and our moms. Decenter men. Teach them a little better how to behave. The hand that rocks the cradle rules the world. And this right here is the important thing. Stop breeding with narcissists. In a couple generations, this all dies off. Future humans will thank you. Currently, 60% of American men say that they are unhappily, unwillingly single. Let's bump that number up to 90%. We cannot be the enablers of this anymore. They're no longer doing this. It's on us. Thanks for watching.